Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 8 of 5 in 10. You guys have been continuing to send in questions. Thank you very much for all of your wonderful, wonderful queries that are coming in. It's a very exciting episode today, a little bit different than last time. So, you guys know we did a special set where it was very focused on step jars and boosters. And I know that while you guys did, of course, enjoy the questions, you do want a bit more range. So let's get back to this varied style of question in here for Oleg. How are you feeling today?
Very hot. This heat wave is really killing me. I right now walking is early morning or late evening because my dog Bear, that some of you have seen, he hates getting out during the day, and I agree with him.
Yeah, got to get your steps in, but of course, try and beat the heat, of course. Now, let's get straight into the questions for today. And again, like I said, it's going to be a
Hydrated.
range and stay hydrated, absolutely. So it is going to be a range of questions today. We have some stat ones and a little bit of a mixture towards the end as well. And the first question for Oleg here, as you see on screen, what key metrics do you check every single day?
you know, I I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm really focused on our mission to make you and the world more physically active. For that, we need to have the highest value of your physical activity. And there are two things that will make this a success: the size of the community, so active users on the app, and revenues and profits that we generate. So these are the two metrics that I look at every single day. And we have very detailed dashboards inside that allow me to see the stats on an hourly basis. But first thing that I do in the morning, I look at the active users, engagement with the app. I look at our revenues, and after that, I look at a lot of other things. How the new features are doing that we're testing. What are the metrics? What's the user feedback? I'm testing functionality that will be sort of coming in the next release. But two things to remember: scale, so the number of active users, and revenues.
Of course, very important ones. And I know you guys have asked in the last couple of weeks as well for an update on the Dune dashboard that was mentioned in one of the earlier episodes. So this work is ongoing, and I do hope to get at least a version out to you guys so you can view, of course, your user activity, how much is going into GrowJazz, and some other very exciting stats there. Let's jump into question 2. And continuing the sort of stats wise questions here, what is your biggest worry when you see current app statistics?
It's a very good question, and at Come Clean, the biggest worry that I have right now is usage of the whole multi-chain functionality, which was affected by the incident, and we still see not levels that we were forecasting or expecting to see. Just a reminder, it is built on near intents, which means it's the cheapest way to bridge and swap and trade and buy tokens on the market, and also the fastest. And this is if you pay fees. You also all know that you can watch an ad and get the advertiser to cover those fees. So this is, the biggest thing that I worry about. And we have whole plan and the project internally to kind of improve this, add a lot more tokens, support for more chains. But this is something that kind of in works, and I'm not going to give specifics. As I said, we only announce what is working, what tested well, and what is loved by you. But multi-chain functionality, trading, swapping, bridging, buying, sending, receiving is the area that worries me the most right now.
Yep, of course, we do see a lot of feedback, bug reports, and issues from the community in this regard as well. So everything is, of course, being taken into account. We know that it's not a perfect experience right now. So rest assured, it is absolutely a priority for us to get that fully working and give you the best experience possible when you are using near intense trading, bridging, swapping, and so on.
Absolutely. It was affected by those incidents that happened in April. As we already mentioned, there was an attack on Near, there was an attack on RIA, then there was an attack on us. And all of this right now is going through serious security hardening. And as a result of it, there are some hiccups in the experience that we're working on to fix for you. But as Ashton said, if there is something not working, please feed it to us. This really helps to pinpoint some of the issues to focus on.
Absolutely. Now let's go on to, I believe, the last stats focused question for today, but it's one that I do really like myself. So, how much sweat is rewarded through in-app features?
Yeah, this question is popping up, continuously over the last 4 years of our existence. And I presume that the worry is that there is a lot of sweat going out that increases total token supply. I want to put your mind to rest. As we said in the previous episode, every single time we release a feature, we do look at token economics and the impact on the token supply. And I am happy to say that right now the run rate of these rewards is approximately 1 million sweat per month, with all history is approximately 60 million sweat over just close to 4 years. This is dwarfed by the amount of burns that we do on a monthly basis. If you go into our socials, you'd see that 2 days ago we burned another 50 million. So 1 million emissions, 50 million burned. So we are definitely taking a lot more tokens off the market than are used for all of these engagement and incentive campaigns that we're running. And of course, these features are helping us to generate revenues and bring that buyback closer.
Of course, that's a very good mention there. These range across a number of features, whether it's daily flip or learn and earn, which also include partnerships as well. All of these are revenue generating and get us that little bit closer towards profitability. So they are key features here. They're not just existing for no reason. And of course, you guys have seen, and many, many, many of you have interacted with the lessons, and it gives you an opportunity to learn something. And of course, you do get a little bit of sweat, and you usually get a very nice benefit with the partner that is being displayed as well. So there's loads of benefits for you guys, but minimal real impact in terms of sweat being distributed. So it's quite a win-win, I think, for all sides there. Now let's go through to the next question. And this one's a little bit more of a feature suggestion, I would say, than a direct question to you. But here goes. What do you think of a social tab in the Sweat Wallet app?
Great question. Over the years, we experimented with a lot of functionality, social functionality in Sweatcoin and in Sweat Wallet. And social encompasses a lot of stuff. One thing that we certainly not going to do is to become another messenger app where there is a lot of chatter going on. When we tested this functionality on Sweatcoin, we very quickly discovered that the biggest adopters were actually people doing something illegal or unsavory. And we realized that it is also a violation of regulatory requirements in a lot of countries. And if we wanted to maintain that, we would need to have a team that would be looking at all of the messages and making sure that all the illegal activity or chatter is removed and moderated, etc., etc. That puts huge amount of additional cost, while this sort of chatter functionality didn't really move a needle on the metrics that we care about, which is you coming back, you becoming more active, and also revenues that we generate as a business. However, on the flip side, if we are talking about leaderboards and competitions and sometimes collaborations, these work, and in some countries more, in some countries less, and this is definitely something in our roadmap. No specific details, but one of the things that I've already seen in socials that people sort of send around are the rankings of jars and earning from jars. So this gives me an idea around what we can organize this. Because as you remember, step jars are earning more when you're more physically active. So bringing these two together is a very interesting idea for leaderboards, competitions, and possibly collaborations.
I think that's a great aspect there when it comes to leaderboards, collaborations, and challenges. I love challenges when it comes to these. And one thing to mention when it comes to a social tab in terms of messaging, I don't think anyone needs another WhatsApp or these kinds of applications. You talk to your friends and your families on existing platforms, but we do of course have a lot of community platforms here for you to come in, chat with myself and our team. And it would be great to see more of you guys coming in. We do, of course, run challenges there as well. So you can always get involved, send in your photos, capture your active days, flex your steps, and kind of just show off and get an opportunity to win a little bit of extra sweat while you're at it.
Absolutely. And what I'm also seeing is, that we have a Telegram bot. If you have Telegram installed, you can actually use that. And we also have very active community on Telegram. So, kind of social is right next to our app already, and many of you are using it. I know that not all and not everybody's got Telegram installed, but kind of this is one of the examples that I know people are using already.
Absolutely. Let's go through to question 5, and that would be, what is one lie that you see about Sweat?
There is a consistent misperception that we must be selling user data in order to generate revenue. And I've said it before, I'll say it now, and I will repeat it ad nauseum in the future. We've never sold your data, we don't sell your data, and we never will sell your data. The key thing to our mission is your trust. If we want to make the world more physically active, we cannot betray your trust. So even if it is a possibility to generate some revenue, that would be like shooting yourself in the foot. So this is definitely a misconception. Our revenue streams are subscriptions, Sweat Max, partnerships, commercial partnerships. So you would see them sometimes in Quest, sometimes in lessons, and advertising. You have an option to either pay blockchain fees for all transactions using Sweat, so pay your fees with your feet, or by watching an ad, you effectively make advertisers pay these fees. So these are the sources of our income. Never ever it was selling your data. There is another, it's not a lie, but it's a confusion that very frequently pops up. That is, Sweat token and Sweat coins are the same thing. They're not. Sweat coin is a partner business that I've co-founded with the team in 2014. And Sweat coin is a step tracker and verifier if steps are genuine. Sweat coins that you earn in Sweat coin app can only be used inside Sweat coin application. If you install Sweat wallet and connect your crypto account to your Sweat coin account, then you're starting to convert those verified steps into Sweat. And Sweat is a real crypto token that is listed on many exchanges, SEXs, and DEXs, and is really a financial asset and the financial value of your movement. Sweat coins and Sweat are, despite the closeness of their name, are very different things.
That's a pretty key aspect there. We still continuously get, questions and queries in the community about how to turn sweat coins into sweat, or how to claim them. Ultimately, guys, yeah, they are separate, and there's no way to sort of interchange sweat coins into sweat or sweat into sweat coins. Completely separate businesses and different coin that you are earning there.
And they're not convertible, not because we don't want to do it, but it is impossible to do it. One is effectively centralized currency that lives on a server, and another one is decentralized. To establish some sort of reasonable exchange rate is absolutely impossible in these circumstances. So, if you want to work for crypto, then make sure that you install Sweat Wallet, create crypto account, connect to apps, and start earning Sweat.
Absolutely. Now, we have missed out on bonus questions for a little while, and while we do have one today, but it's slightly unrelated. I'm sure we have a good spin here. But Oleg, are you watching the World Cup? And if so, what team are you supporting? I can give just a little bit of an answer for myself, and that would be ultimately I'm not a very football-y kind of guy. But many of you know I'm Welsh. That means that rugby is in my veins, so I'm much more looking forward to that tournament coming very soon.
I'm not Welsh, so kind of while I like rugby, I think I'm a lot closer to football than rugby. But I cannot call myself a supporter of one team. My family is extremely international. As you know, we live in Portugal right now. My wife is Spanish. My children were born in the UK and they consider themselves British. So I actually track three teams: England, Portugal, and Spain. And I'm really happy that all three of them are in the playoffs in the final 32. Yesterday's game, England-Congo, was funky, but I'm very happy that England went through. Ultimately, if either one of these three gets to the prize, me and my family are going to be very, very happy. But actually, there is a completely different aspect that I look into when I look at the games, and this is more of I guess, sort of professional interest. I was always interested in athletes and kind of the amount of running. And one thing that I'm seeing in this World Cup is that these athletes are absolutely phenomenal. Average player runs about 10.5 kilometers per match, which is about 14 to 15,000 steps in 90 minutes. Interesting stat for you: midfielders are by far the biggest distance runners. They run about 10 to 15% more per match, on average about 11.7 kilometers. Very interesting observation that I just picked up today. Messi ranks 618th out of 618 players participating in terms of his distance run per match, and yet he is the highest scorer. So maybe outside of sweat, the volume or the quantity of movement is not necessarily the biggest measure of success. Another stat that really interests me is top speed. The top guy in terms of speed in this World Cup is Jordan Boss from Australia with 36.7 kilometers an hour dash. Just to put it into perspective, this is only 1 kilometer an hour, less than 1 kilometer an hour, slower than Usain Bolt, who is the fastest man on the planet. So these guys are absolutely incredible athletes, and may the strongest win. And hopefully it will be one of the three that I support.
It would be a very dangerous day for you if they play off against each other.
Yeah. Yeah. If England plays Spain, I think that it's going to be very, very quiet in front of our TV.
Awesome. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. As always, the QR code is available on screen. Scan it with your phone if you'd like to submit any questions, or if you're on a computer right now, click the link in the description right below, and you will be able to send in any of your further questions for us. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Oleg, for all of your answers. I hope everyone has a great week ahead.
Fantastic. See you next week.
Goodbye.